You want basa basa yeah? Okay, see about execution entertainment. Yeah, take it back. Whoa, yeah. Ghana, my baby. Kanumia Muyanko. Epiani Aketro. Whoa, yeah. Ghana, my baby. Kanumia Muyanko.
So it is 6:12 a.m. and we actually have electricity, as you can see. And I woke up pretty early. I woke up at 5 a.m. because today we're actually going to the slave castles in Cocoon National Park, and we're hoping to come back early enough so we can yeah, just get back early enough. And tomorrow we're gonna go to Kumasi to my mom's house. Goal is to get out of here by 7. It's almost 7, so I'm just gonna go to where my mom is making breakfast. She's actually not in the house. This is my uncle's house right here, where I just came out of, but she's in this area, this section right here, which is another kitchen. And so she's making breakfast over here. Oh, I'm wearing sneakers today because I'm ready to do the Cocoon National Park. So I have my sneakers on. This is another fridge. Say hi, mommy.
Ooh.
Hi.
Hi, hello.
Good to my camera.
Hi.
Yeah, so she's making eggs and breakfast for us. Yeah. So this is what it looks like. It's bigger than the other one. I don't know if I've shown you the other kitchen while the lights were on, but since electricity's on this early in the AM, I'm gonna just go ahead and show you what the other kitchen looks like. But yeah, I'm pumped. I woke up so early today, it's not even funny. That's all our stuff left. My uncle went to Kumasi yesterday and took our other bags, because we had like a total of like 6 bags, not even including our carry-on. So he took some of our stuff to our house in Kumasi. But anywho, let me show you. This is the hallway leading up to the kitchen. And this is the other kitchen. It's a little bit smaller than the other one, but yeah. So everybody's happy. Well, I guess my mom and my brother are happy that we're leaving here, because this is not, my mom says this is not her house, so she doesn't know where a lot of things are. I'm surprised there's still electricity right now. I'm so happy. I'll be filming at Cocoon and the slave dungeon, so I'll see you there. Bye. So now we're in the bus waiting for it to pull off so we can go to Cape Coast and Cocoon, hopefully, because we didn't leave on time at all. The bus was waiting to be filled, so before we could actually leave to Cocoon or Cape Coast, we have to wait for the bus to be filled, and now it's filled, so hopefully we'll be leaving soon. This is outside of the bus. What's going on, basically? There was a fight over there, but they broke it up. Everything vlog-worthy happens when I don't have my camera on. So we missed the fight, but yeah, so we're at, I think it's Kamishi bus stop. They said it's 2 hours until we can get to Cape Coast, so hopefully we'll be getting there soon. Bus. There's still something going on. Yeah, the fight is finished. I don't know where the bus driver is, so we can go. The bus is filled. Skedaddle. Ready to go. So basically, we're on our way to Cape Coast and Cocoon, and they're singing on the bus or doing praise and worship. He was praying earlier, now he's worshiping. So, and that's pretty normal. I've seen it before, but yeah. It's coming from a circle.
I don't think that was Miss you, I feel now.
Finally at Cape Coast. Took a long time to get here. I'll tell you about that later. It was a crazy day.
You are all welcome to the castle. My name is Joe Kilson. I'll be your guide for the tour. But before we start the tour, before we move into the middle dungeon, I'll give you a very short history about the castle and the transatlantic slave trade. The Swedish were the first Europeans to arrive in this town, and they were the ones who acquired this land on which the castle is built from the local chiefs around 1654. The Swedish built a small timber lodge to trade in slaves, gold, and other commodities. However, the lodge changed hands several times. In 1658, the Danes acquired the lodge from the Swedish. The Danes did not stay for long. In 1661, the Dutch were also here. They bought the lodge from the Danes, and the Dutch developed the lodge into a stone fort. 4 years later, around 1665, the British attacked the Dutch over here, drove them away, and they developed the fort into its present state, the Cape Coast Castle. It took the British about 200 years to develop the castle into its present state. The castle was built purposely for the slave trade. So during the slave trade, many Africans were taken away as slaves to the Americas, the Caribbeans, to be used as labor on their plantation farms. The Africans taken away by the British traders, majority of them were captured within Ghana, but there were some also who were captured and brought to this castle from neighboring West African countries. Some of the African captives or slaves were brought from Togo, Benin, Burkina Faso, some even as far as Mali and Niger. And most of these captives were prisoners of intertribal wars. There were some who were kidnapped from their villages by slave raiders. And wherever the captives were taken, they walked on foot to the castle. They were brought here by some African chiefs. The male captives or the male slaves were kept down here. The females had a separate dungeon. They will go there. And the male dungeon was designed to hold about 1,000 men at a time, 1,000 men. The captives were kept in for between 2 weeks to 3 months, waiting for the slave ships to arrive from Europe. In North America, the British traders took the captives mostly to the US, the Caribbean, to the likes of Jamaica, Barbados, Bahamas. And over there, the traders were selling the captives to plantation owners for profits. The plantation owners then used the captives as labor on the sugar, cotton, coffee plantations. The transatlantic slave trade was officially abolished in Britain in the year 1807. However, the British traders who were trading in this castle, they did not stop in 1807. The British in the castle continued the slave trade until 1833, when the British government abolished slavery. Were also Europeans who were raiding and selling slaves to their fellow Europeans along the coast of West Africa. So there were some raiders who were Africans, majority were Africans, but there were some also who were Europeans. Any other questions? All right. In that case, let us move into the dungeon, but the floor slopes gently and is a bit slippery, so please take your time to watch your steps. All right. the mill dungeon. The dungeon was divided into 5 chambers. This is one chamber, and out of the 1,000 male slaves, about 150 of them were kept in this chamber. 150 men. And the slaves were normally put in shackles. There was no electricity at that time. So the 3 vents are the source of light and ventilation for the slaves. It is on record that the male slaves defecated on the floor. When urinated here, they stayed here waiting for the slave ships. You can see a small drainage on the floor. It runs through all the 5 chambers into the sea. It was something like a sewage. So the feces, urine of the slaves runs through all through the other chambers into the ocean. Fed twice a day. The slaves eat in the morning and the evening. They normally eat from their palms. And they'll be in the dungeon for between 2 weeks to as long as 3 months, waiting for the slave ships. Many of them often became sick. Many died. When a male slave dies in the dungeon, the body was carried out, thrown into the sea. Let me show you something over here. You can come closer. About 44 years ago, in the 1970s, a group of archaeologists came to the castle to do some archaeological works. And when they came to this chamber, they discovered decomposed human waste covering the floor. The waste discovered was believed to be that of the slaves kept here. So the waste had been here for over 100 years. The archaeologists excavated the waste, but they left a small part of the waste unexcavated. So the floor, you can see originally bricks, but on this very small part of the floor, you cannot see the bricks. So this is all decomposed waste, left unexcavated for visitors to see for themselves.
Is there a record of how many died? How many, the numbers they captured, how many made it?
Alright, there are estimates.
Yeah.
Some historians have estimated that just about 50%, about 55% of the slaves survived. So the other 45 either died in the dungeons or on the ships. And that does not include those who died walking from the villages. Yeah. Any other question? Okay, let's see the other chambers. And now, apart from the slave trade, the British were trying to promote the Christianity religion among locals. So in the middle of the 18th century, a group of missionaries arrived in the castle, and the church was built in the castle. Ironically, the church was just above the dungeon. So right on top of the dungeon, Christianity was practiced while slaves were down here. It was an Anglican or an English church. When we continue up, I'll show you where the church was. Before we see the other chambers, let me put the light off. I just want you to have a feel of how dark the place is without electricity. Alright, please let us continue to see the other chambers.
So all these places are chambers.
All these were chambers. All these, yeah. Exactly. All these were chambers. 5 of them. Okay, this is the last chamber, and the British kept slaves here also during slavery. Now, whilst building the castle, the British constructed an underground tunnel in the castle, very big, very long, about 70 meters long. And the tunnel connected this chamber to the beach. The tunnel started behind the wall. But in 1833, when the slave trade was abolished in British West Africa, the British in the castle closed or sealed the entrance of the tunnel to symbolize the end of the trade. The tunnel was a passage during the slave trade. Whenever the slave ships arrived, the male slaves in the dungeon were not taken out through the main gates. The slaves were rather marched through the tunnel. They walked still in the shackles, led by soldiers, all the way to the beach. At the beach, the slaves are forced into boats. The boats take them to the big ships on the high seas to be sent to the Americas and the Caribbean. The entrance of the tunnel has been closed or sealed, so we cannot walk through. But don't worry, when we continue out of the dungeon, I'll show you parts or sections of the tunnel. There's a corner over there. It is just an extension of this chamber, but there is no door or exit on that side. And what you see right here is a traditional shrine or an altar. It belongs to the locals in the town. So the traditionalists, they do come to worship or to practice their religion here. There is even a priest in charge, but he is not here right now. However, this altar was built long after the end of the slave trade. So during the slave trade, there was no shrine or altar in this chamber. Any questions about this chamber? There is, okay. These are all here in remembrance of the slaves who died. They are brought in by the descendants, the African Americans, the Jamaicans, the Surinamese. When they visit the castle, they bring their wreaths to pay homage to their ancestors who did not survive the slave trade.
Is there did they keep records of people?
Talking about the slaves.
Yeah.
They kept record of the number of slaves.
But not names.
Not names. Exactly. Not names. So they kept the record of the number of people. The dungeons were assigned. They were known as quartermasters. Every morning they check the number of slaves. They check if anyone is dead. Yeah.
But so it's impossible to trace your family.
It's almost impossible, unless the DNA and all that. Right. But for some, you can trace to a specific ethnic group based on cultural similarities. Mm-hmm. So with Jamaicans, for instance, they share a lot of cultural similarities with the Akan ethnic group in Ghana. So you can know that the ancestors were from. But for a family, unless you do the DNA and all that, it's a long process.
And Cape Coast is so beautiful. It's unfortunate what took place here, but it's such a beautiful city. So pretty. Such a beautiful city.
And once put into the ships sent to the Americas and the Caribbean, they did not return. So we have a door of no return to symbolize that the Africans sent out as slaves lost contact with their families, their people, and they never returned back to their mother. Let us walk out and see what we have behind the door. Okay, the boats will be at the shore. The ships, because they were bigger, they will stay a bit far away from the height. The slaves are put into boats. The boats take them. Please, I want you all to take a straight look along the beach. There is a broken wall stretching into the sea. How we cannot see the wall? The wall was built by the British. It was a bit longer. It's actually abandoned. This part of the thing was preserved for the British. Locals who lived or stayed in the town, they were not allowed to leave. The law was there to prevent locals here. From the town. Okay, there were some who were taken from the town. Most of them were people who had committed crimes. They must be killed or exiled, but they are rather sold into slavery. Some families were in debt. They have to pay their debt. There is no money, so they will select a family member to sell, pay their debts. But most of the slaves were brought from far places, forest areas, the northern part. Very few were taken along the coastal. But now this place is more like a mini fishing hammock. The people swim, play football. Anyone can have fun. So this is the condemned cell. Let me put the light. Alright, so this is what we do. You go in. We are all going in, but you go first. I will join you later and explain to you what happened. Yes, sir. But please, when you are entering, keep your heads down. Yeah, it's very important to do that. So, I'm gonna take a lead. Alright. Watch your head as you go.
I know.
So this, the male condemned cell. There were 3 doors or gates fixed at the entrance of the cell. The male slaves who were also fighting and trying to organize rebellions, they were brought in here. Before a male slave is brought in, he is beaten or tortured, becoming very weak. Once in, all the 3 doors are closed. No food, no water, no ventilation in here. The slave stays until he dies. This is a condemned cell. When you walk in, you only go out there. Because of the conditions, within 2 days, the slave dies of hunger, suffocation. The idea to use him set an example to the other slaves in the male dungeon. Any question about your condemned cell? Okay.
How many people they put in there?
Alright, there wouldn't be more than 5 people. The idea was to use them as an example. So they pick out a few seen and very. So it's not like maybe you attack a soldier once and they bring you here. No. They used to monitor the slaves. So those who do that on a regular basis, they are made scapegoats, picked out, put in here to just put some fear in the other slaves. So maximum just about 5 people. To set an example. Alright, let us continue out. Again, please keep your heads down as you walk out. Okay, when you take a look down, you can see an African market with a lot of shops selling craft articles. That used to be the garrison or the barracks. So the British soldiers or guards working in the castle, they lived or stayed down there. All the rooms being used as shops, they were occupied by soldiers during the slave trade. Fort William, up on that hill, you can see a building with a painted roof. That is Fort William. built also by the British. It was a military fort. Soldiers were there to spy around, look at enemies, and also to help in case there is an attack on this castle. So Fort William, a military fort put up to protect this castle, Fort William. Let us now see the governor's quarters, and we go down and wrap up.
How many British people were here at any one time running this castle?
Alright, the British castle numbered just about between 200 to 200.
Oh, it's a lot.
Yeah, but the soldiers were over 100.
Right.
And apart from the traders, there were other people with different occupations. There were medics, secretaries, and all that. But most, in fact, most if not all of the British here were males. Hardly were females being brought along. Yeah.
They will come with their wives.
The fear of malaria. So the wives' kids, they sometimes, most of the time, the wives come to visit, but they don't stay. They come visit, they go back. Yeah. So the British here were males.
The British, so this was the biggest.
This was the biggest. This was the biggest British
So this is
structure.
bigger than Elmina.
No, Elmina is bigger, but Elmina was built by the Portuguese around 1482. There's one castle also in Accra, the Christian Castle, that was built by the Danes in 1661. Elmina is the biggest, followed by Cape Coast. The one in Accra is the smallest. But Elmina is the oldest, Cape Coast is the youngest. Cape Coast is 350 years. Elmina is over 500 years. Yeah. And for the British, this was their biggest structure, all along the coast of sub-Saharan Africa. This was their biggest.
When the British, Portuguese and Danes built these castles, did the local population resist, or did they see it as being trade?
I would say they did not resist. The lands were sold to the Europeans by the local ships. Some locals were even used as labor. Because the castles were built for trade. The Europeans did not specify that we are going to take slaves or no, trading. And of course, there were a lot of imported goods which were of interest to the locals. Yeah. So they did not resist when these castles were built. We can compare this to the Victoria. Also on, you can see it right on the hill where the telephone mast is. Yeah. Fort Victoria. That was also built by the British. I think named after the Queen then in Victoria. Yeah. That is Fort Victoria.
Fort Victoria straight ahead.
Built in here. Read a message and we wrap up over here. A security post or a guard post. There will be a guard in with a gun. If you want to see the governor, you seek permission. The security post during the state.
Guard post. If you want to see the governor, you seek permission right here. Guard with the gun.
Alright, let's end it down, please. I can see some of you are a bit tired. This is what I want us to see. Okay, so unveiled in 1992 by the traditional rulers in Ghana as a form of apology in everlasting memory of the anguish of our ancestors. May those who died rest in peace, may those who return find their roots. May humanity never again perpetrate such injustice against humanity. We the living vow to uphold this. The chiefs in Ghana admit that some Africans collaborated with the Europeans during the slave trade. And most of these Africans were the leaders or the chiefs at that time. So they are pleading for forgiveness on behalf of their predecessors. They're also saying to you all, or us all, humanity, the living, let us learn from what's happened. The dungeons are empty, the slave trade has been abolished, but slavery is still happening in many forms. Today you hear of the child labor, the human trafficking, many other forms of slavery. So the message is very simple. Let's unite, continue to fight against other modern forms of slavery. If for no reason, for the simple reason that no one knows who the next victim of slavery will be. Will you, a child, a friend, a relative, anybody else? At this stage, I will want to ask any further questions or comments or suggestions or anything. Alright, in that case, my name again, Kojo Kilson. I want to say thank you for coming, thank you for your time, thank you for your patience, and I hope you learned a lot from the talk. But that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much. The castle is still yours. If you still want to stay, you can stay until 6. If you stay beyond 6, you might spend the night here. And the only places available are the dungeons and the cells. It's closed off. Alright, so thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. So we just finished the tour of Cape Coast Slave Castle. The tour guide, Kojo, he was excellent. This is my 3rd time here at the Slave Castle, and my 3rd time touring as well. He was a very good tour guide. But yeah, so here I am at Cape Coast Slave Castle here in Cape Coast, Ghana. So beautiful. It's actually very beautiful. Right by the Atlantic Ocean. I think this is the Atlantic Ocean. There's a guy over here singing. I don't know if you can see him. I understand Tree. I speak it a little bit, but I understand it. Yeah. Do you speak Tree or Fanti? He only knows bad words.
She's asking you a question.
Do you speak Tree or Fanti?
Both.
Oh, okay. So are you Fanti?
I'm fancy.
Oh, okay.
I can speak Tree.
Oh.
I think it's difficult for an Ashanti to speak the fancy.
Yeah, once you add the Z, you are through. I'm trying to.
That's my uncle.
I speak both.
Oh, okay.
Speak both.
How long you been working here?
For about 5 years.
Oh, wow. Good tour guide.
Every first,
My uncle Yao's house for the evening in Cape Coast. We're spending the night here because we got here way too late. It's just too late to go back to Accra. My mom doesn't want to do that, so we're sleeping here tonight. My Uncle Yao. Say hi, Uncle. You're supposed to wave to my camera.
somebody's phone is ringing.
Whose phone is that? That's not ours. It's the phone over there.
Oh, that's it. I only took some pictures.
No, it's a videotape. You're supposed to say hi.
Okay.
You're supposed to say hi. Yeah.
Hello, this is Ghana. We are in Cape Coast. I have my niece visiting. My sister is also here. The first time I'm meeting them, I'm so excited. I took them around to the Cape Coast Castle. We're back. It's late. We rather wanted to go to Mina. Unfortunately, it's a little late. So we have to stay overnight. We're
Yes.
enjoying some rice soup and then some rice. And I believe after that, we just relax, chat, and then sleep
Yes.
and see what tomorrow holds for us.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's my uncle.
Hello. All right.
So yeah, we're just eating here. Some rice with some light soup with some fish, beef, and yeah, fish and beef in it.
Chicken.
It didn't have chicken in it.
Oh, does it?
So that's my food. I'll continue. My mom took her to bed and you see her. I don't go in the bed. She just sits on the couch like that instead of laying in the real bed. Uncle is still up. His laptop. Everybody else went to bed. Gonna go in my room. Apparently, this is a Methodist house, is what my uncle said. I don't know what that means, but it's super big. And there's other people here, like, well, not really. Actually, I think so. I don't know. But yeah. So this is, yeah, she's knocked out. This is the bed that I'm sleeping on today. I'll probably sleep with my mom, who's on the couch. Everything worked out. It didn't work out the way I planned it to work out, but it worked out. And I'm not upset. So I'm going to night. I'm going to bed. Excuse me. Good night. See, I've been up since 5 a.m., so I'm exhausted. But yeah, so this is the end of day 3. Toodles.
Whoa, yeah. Ghana, my baby.